50 went to Diddy, we went
Okay.
for Bad Boy. A lot of people don't know that. We had the meeting, and it was so crazy that Diddy didn't sign him. I know that was one of the biggest mistakes of Bad Boy.
How do you know for sure that Puffy and Andre Harrell knew that Tupac was going to get set up at Quad Studios?
They knew he was going to get dealt with. You understand? That end up getting Tupac shot by his actions.
But Diddy used to with like henchmen and them. He used to be around, like, so he hung around the gangsters.
50 Cent and Diddy haven't been on good terms for a long time. While 50 has consistently trolled Diddy online, Diddy has mostly stayed neutral, even going so far as to say that 50 just loves him.
I have no beef
I don't know why.
with Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Y'all really
can't
have a
see it.
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all can't
it.
see that he loves me.
But behind that calm exterior, it seems Diddy may not have been as neutral as he appeared. If you look closely, he seems to have connections to nearly everyone who had issues with 50 Cent. Allegedly, even some linked to attempts on 50's life. We're talking about names like Jimmy Henchman, Murder Inc., and possibly even Supreme McGriff.
I love Puff. Yeah. He can do drugs. Whoa. Oh yeah. I don't. He done hit me with a Jeffrey one time. Jeffrey.
So it's not too far-fetched to think Diddy might have played a bigger role than he let on. And maybe that's part of why 50 Cent has been so relentless with his trolling and attempts to expose him. Let's break it down, starting with Diddy and Jimmy Henchman. According to multiple sources, Diddy and Jimmy were pretty close. Henchman was a prominent music executive, and Diddy, being the industry's ultimate social connector, was known for rubbing shoulders with just about everyone. So their association wasn't surprising, at least on the surface. But things took a turn during the beef between the Game, Jimmy Henchman, and G-Unit. Word is, Diddy tried to step in as a peacemaker. In fact, court records back this up. In mid-2006, during the height of the tension, there was a private meeting that included 50 Cent, Chris Lighty, Jimmy Henchman, Diddy, and a few others. According to prosecutor Khalil Abdullah, the meeting, meant to cool things down, spiraled out of control. Chris Lighty reportedly punched Henchman in the face, and Diddy had to step in to break up the fight. On the surface, it seemed like Diddy was genuinely trying to calm things down. But not everyone's convinced. Some believe this was just another example of Diddy's well-crafted public persona, preaching peace in front of cameras while possibly playing a very different game behind the scenes. Critics argue that if Diddy was truly about peace, and if he was really that close to Henchman, he should have at least warned 50 about the alleged murder plots being orchestrated. After all, someone as well-connected as Diddy wouldn't be completely in the dark. Then, in 2007, things between G-Unit and Henchman's crew escalated beyond music. It all kicked off when Tony Yayo and another G-Unit affiliate, Lodi Mack, crossed paths with Jimmy Henchman's teenage son on the street. The 14-year-old, known in the industry as Lil Henchman, was allegedly wearing a Guiuno shirt, a clear jab at 50 and his crew. What could have been brushed off as harmless provocation turned ugly fast. Instead of walking away, Yayo and Lodi confronted him. The situation quickly spiraled. They allegedly shoved the kid against a wall, and Yayo started slapping him. Then Lodi Mack escalated things even further. He pulled out a gun and pistol-whipped the boy. It was an extreme and unnecessary act, especially considering they were dealing with a teenager.
If I slap your kid, you're gonna go all out too. It's the streets. You know, rules got violated, and it is what...
Word of the assault spread quickly, and it didn't take long for both Yayo and Lodi Mack to be arrested. Yayo eventually had the charges against him dropped, but Lodi wasn't as fortunate. He ended up pleading guilty to aggravated assault and served a couple of years in prison. But before the legal process could fully unfold, retaliation came swiftly. Not long after the incident, someone sprayed Tony Yayo's mother's house with bullets. Thankfully, no one was injured, but the message was unmistakable. Most believed Jimmy Henchman was behind the shooting, sending a clear warning. Messing with his son would come with serious consequences.
Because your mom's house got shot up afterwards. Was your mom and your sister in the house?
Nah, my mom's wasn't there. My sister was there.
From that point on, the tension between G Unit and Henchman's crew moved beyond street-level drama. It turned into an all-out war. Later that same year, things took an even darker turn when Henchman allegedly orchestrated a hit on 50 Cent himself. At the time, 50 was on set filming the music video for his track I'll Still Kill featuring Akon. According to reports, Henchman's people showed up armed with silenced weapons, ready to open fire on the set. But before they could even get out of the car, one of the guns accidentally discharged. The unexpected misfire rattled them, and they panicked, speeding off before anyone could get hurt.
It was the filming of the 50 Cent and Akon I'll Still Kill video.
Henchman and them niggas supposed to come through, and I guess they gun jammed, but we had guard on that side, and they backed out on the hit, but we had straps too.
If that gun hadn't misfired, things could have gone completely sideways. 50's crew was armed too, and it could have easily turned into a deadly shootout. That accidental discharge might have been the only thing that prevented a full-blown massacre. Still, the failed hit made one thing clear. Jimmy Henchman wasn't bluffing. He was serious and willing to go to extreme lengths to take 50 out, and he wasn't done. In another bold move, Henchman allegedly drove down Manhattan's West Side Highway near 50 Cent's office building. According to reports, he reached for his gun while behind the wheel, planning to fire shots as he passed by. But just as he was about to make his move, he noticed police following him. He backed off, but once again, it seemed like pure chance had stopped something tragic from happening. But Henchman wasn't giving up. As the obsession grew, so did the danger. Realizing that 50's team traveled in bulletproof vehicles, Henchman allegedly began plotting something far more lethal. Since bullets couldn't get the job done, he reportedly came up with a plan to blow up 50's armored van, believing an explosion was the only way to truly take him out. That kind of thinking showed just how personal and deep the feud had become. Then came another alleged attempt, this time targeting Tony Yayo again. One day, Henchman reportedly spotted Yayo's Bentley parked and decided to strike. He opened fire, riddling the car with bullets. What he didn't realize, though, was that Yayo wasn't in the Bentley. He was sitting in his bulletproof van parked just behind it, watching the whole thing unfold. Once again, luck and heavy security kept him safe.
My issue was really more with Jimmy Henchman. And then, as we leaving, I left Apollo. I'm around the corner, my Bentley got shot up, but luckily I was in my bulletproof truck behind the...
There were even quiet rumors floating around that Jimmy Henchman might have had a hand in the mysterious fire that burned down 50 Cent's house. While nothing was ever confirmed and no solid evidence surfaced, the streets were buzzing. Given how intense things had become and the string of attempted hits, it wasn't hard for people to suspect Henchman. Even without proof, the speculation only added fuel to an already explosive situation. At that point, both camps were knee-deep in the conflict, and it was obvious nobody was playing by the rules. Then in 2009, things escalated to a whole new level when the violence turned deadly once again. Just 2 weeks after Lodi Mack, G Unit's affiliate who had assaulted Jimmy Henchman's son back in 2007, was released from prison, he was shot and killed in cold blood on a Bronx street. The murder sent shockwaves through the streets, and suspicion immediately turned toward one person, Jimmy Henchman. This wasn't a random act of violence, it was a calculated hit, executed with precision. According to reports, Henchman and his crew had been tracking Lodi Mack from the moment he got out of prison. At first, they struggled to confirm his exact whereabouts, but instead of giving up, they got creative. They found out who Lodi's lawyer was and made contact, pretending to be a mutual friend connected to someone named Biggie. They claimed they were just trying to look out for Lodi and wanted to meet up, supposedly to show love. Believing it was a friendly gesture, Lodi agreed, completely unaware he was walking into a trap. That meeting turned into an ambush. Lodi was gunned down shortly after. It was a cold, calculated move that shocked the streets. But it didn't surprise many. People quickly connected the dots. Lodi had assaulted Henchman's son, and now, just weeks after coming home, he was dead. It didn't take a detective to figure out what had likely happened. For a while, the murder technically remained unsolved. Law enforcement didn't have enough hard evidence to arrest Henchman, at least not yet. But as investigators quietly worked the case, Henchman's world was beginning to fall apart in other ways. By 2010, the feds finally caught up with him, on a long list of major charges. Henchman was indicted for running a massive bi-coastal cocaine trafficking ring, along with money laundering and witness tampering. It turned out he had been balancing a double life, deep in the drug game while staying embedded in the music industry. Eventually, it all caught up with him. When the court handed down judgment, the tone was serious. The judge called Henchman's criminal operation astonishing in its scope and ruthlessness, and he was sentenced to life in prison. But the story didn't end there. While Henchman was already serving time for his drug charges, the murder case resurfaced. In 2012, prosecutors officially charged him with orchestrating Lodi Mac's killing. This time, they came with a stacked deck. Several members of Henchman's crew had flipped, offering detailed testimony about how the murder was planned and carried out. They provided names, dates, phone calls, everything. The case was airtight. By 2014, it was all over. Henchman was found guilty of arranging Lodi Mac's murder and received a second life sentence on top of the one he was already serving. That marked the final chapter of his long, violent run. After all this, whispers began that Henchman might have turned on Diddy. Reports emerged claiming that federal authorities questioned him about Diddy's alleged involvement in inappropriate behavior with underage boys. While nothing was ever confirmed, some believe Henchman may have said something. And when it comes to Diddy, playing both sides is a recurring theme. That
December 1st, 1994. The rare, raw footage of Tupac Shakur in a wheelchair the morning after he was shot.
At the time, Diddy publicly denied any involvement in the Quad Studios shooting. When the Los Angeles Times ran a story linking him to the incident, he issued a strong statement, calling the report completely false and beyond ridiculous. He added, "I am shocked that the Los Angeles Times would be so irresponsible as to publish a baseless and completely untrue story." But not everyone was convinced. In the streets and across the hip-hop community, suspicion lingered. The shooting happened during a critical moment in the early 90s, right as Jimmy Henchman was starting to gain traction in the music industry. Around the same time, Tupac Shakur was quickly rising through the ranks of rap. He wasn't yet the global legend he'd become, but it was clear to anyone watching that he was on the brink of superstardom. Seeing an opportunity, Jimmy Henchman tried to position himself as Pac's manager, but Pac wasn't interested. That rejection reportedly didn't sit well with Henchman, and what unfolded afterward would forever alter the course of hip-hop history. Jimmy had close ties to Haitian Jack, a street-connected figure with a serious reputation. Pac met Henchman through Jack, despite warnings from Biggie to keep his distance.
Promise to pay back Jimmy Henchman in due time. I need you just listening.
Pac didn't believe the Quad Studios shooting was just a random robbery. He was convinced it was a setup. In the aftermath, he publicly pointed fingers, accusing Diddy, Biggie, Jimmy Henchman, and others of orchestrating the ambush.
Did you not have anything to do with him being robbed or shot at Quad Studios in 1994?
Absolutely never even knew about it, never heard about it.
For years, Jimmy Henchman adamantly denied having any involvement in the shooting.
Yeah. He can do drugs. Oh yeah, he done hit me with a Jeffrey one time.
In 2011, a man named Dexter Isaac, an old associate of Jimmy Henchman who was serving a life sentence, came forward with a bombshell revelation. Isaac claimed that Henchman had paid him $2,500 to rob Tupac and allowed him to keep all the jewelry. They took, except for one ring that Henchman wanted for himself. Isaac also accused Stretch, Pac's close friend, of being in on the setup, saying that Henchman had given Stretch a quarter brick of cocaine as payment for setting up Pac. A year after the robbery, Stretch was killed in a drive-by shooting. Pac addressed this betrayal in Against All Odds, rapping, "And that dude that was down for me, rest in dead switch sides, guess his new friends wanted him dead." Despite Isaac's confession and Pac's accusations, Henchman continued to deny any involvement.
I opened the door, and the dude said, "Yo, I'm here for my cousin." I said, "Who your cousin?" And he said, Ja Rule.
50 went to Diddy. 50 went to Diddy. We was gonna, we went to, for Bad Boy. A lot of people don't know that. We had the meeting, and it was so crazy that Diddy didn't sign him. I know that was one of the biggest mistakes of Bad Boy.
Looking back now, many people feel like there's more to the story than what was initially said. They believe Diddy had already picked a side, and it wasn't 50's. With Diddy being close to Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, and the people allegedly involved. In the attempt on 50's life, it's not hard to see why some think Diddy might have known a lot more than he let on. The fact that 50 got shot 9 times, yet Diddy still maintained close ties with those potentially involved, speaks volumes to some. This is why many believe 50 Cent has never stopped trolling Diddy and continues to be relentless in exposing him. Fans have also started noticing a pattern. Every major enemy 50's had over the years is either dead or locked up. Now, with Diddy facing his own legal troubles, he